So my name is Rosana Paulino. I am from São Paulo, Brazil, and I am a visual artist and a teacher as well. I'm very interested to think about Brazilian society and the male blacks in the country. I started to look at the images of black people in old books in Brazil, and I'm thinking how it can affect the black population until nowadays. So I started to discuss this. First of all, making some drawings about my body and then about that kind of ideal body that was shown to us, that was a white body, blondie. I was not happy because when the things I used to see, because I could not see myself. 58% of the people in the country are blacks. So why could not I see myself at the TV or in the magazines, the newspapers, the books? Why they imposed that model to me and saying, okay, you have to be like this? Of course, I will never be like that because I'm black. It was something that was caused pain, not on me only, but all the black population. Brazil was the last country in the Western to abolish slavery. To understand the country, you have to understand this history. The violence against black, for example, it's enormous. A black guy has 70% more possibility to be killed than a white guy at the same age. So it's a kind of genocide that occurs every day in the country. Why we earn less money? Why we are not at the universities? Why we are not in the main places when we are talking about politics, when we are talking about culture? What happened with this population? I use different techniques because it depends the thing that I want to discuss. If I have something that is more about psychological states, I prefer to use drawing. But if I want to discuss a kind of a false science, so I use the photos. One thing that I think is very interesting, for example, is that pose, when you have people that commit the crime, you can see the front, and the side, and the back. That was invented in Rio de Janeiro. So in this book, I question the science and the role played by the science in the slavery time. It was used to oppress black people and to justify slavery in Brazil. So science is not so neutral as people think that it is. So to change this idea about this population, I will use the same image, but changing the meaning of this. We have this image that portrays a woman, front, side, and back. But in front, when I use this same image, I gave to her a heart. So we can see an enormous heart. And when she's back, we can see some roots coming from her body and going to the ground. So it means that these people, they suffered a lot. They were kidnapped in their countries. They went to Brazil as enslaved people, but they were so resilient. They could make a nation. They could build a country. I started to use photography in my work using a box of photography that my mother had. So I was very young. This work, Memory Wall, is a work that's made using this shape that's called the patois in Afro-Brazilian religion. Something that is very small, maybe like a square, like this size, very small, that you put some things inside to protect you or to protect your home. So I started to use this shape, but bigger than an original patois, and I put inside images of my family. This work is 1,500 pieces. But we have a meaning for this work to be so large you can ignore one of these persons in a group of people, for example, but you can't ignore 1,500 pairs of eyes on you. The black females are the main point in my work. Black female bodies, black female identity, even black female psychology. Because when you are discussing about the ideas of what is psychology, it's a science that started, of course, in Europe. Because all the myths related to psychology, for example, they are thinking about, of course, European myths. Athena, for example, that is the principle of mind, the reason, she's also the eternal virgin. So when a woman is very rational or have his right of their body, for example, she will pay for this. She will pay a price. And how can I be inside that ideas? That's not possible. But in Brazil, for example, we have a deity, a goddess that is called Yansan. And she has a woman that has a lot of freedom. So she's really powerful, but at the same time, she's not the eternal virgin. She is a lover, she has child, she is mother, she enjoys herself and her body. So I was thinking, we have this kind of mythology in Brazil, for example. Why we are not using this? Why I have to put myself inside another kind of mythology if I try to understand myself using psychology? So I started to make a series that was called the Senhora das Plantas. In Portuguese, that means Lady of Plants. Because I think that we have to start to think by ourselves in Brazil, not only to copy the ideas, but to contribute with some new ideas. Because to work with this is a way to understand myself, but it's also a way to understand the Brazilian society. I am making an institute in Brazil that will have my name, Rosana Paulino Institute, and the money that I earn with the prize will help me to build the library. We are living in a moment in Brazil where young artists are making the same demands that I make, and I'm saying, okay, we must be listened. For the first time, we are really pressuring, okay, using art in education. I have, I'm gonna say, a lot of hope. It's a very interesting moment in Brazil.